ourselves a band. He was the perfect missing piece of the puzzle. We were blown away. We made cassettes and sat there with the engineer. I just remember saying, "We got ourselves a band." We'd been all down and out and hadn't known what we were going to do. This was the answer to our prayers. This was the kick in the ass we needed. This is it. I played the cassette for my wife, Sue. It was just the lyrics Sammy came up with off the top of his head, which later became Summer Nights. She went nuts over what she heard. She could tell. You can get together with guys and jam, and I've done that many times in bands, and some of them are great. Some of them you just go through the motions, but magic like that is once in a lifetime, if you're lucky. All of a sudden, we're taking it to a new level. Not only do we have this guy who can really sing, but now we've got another guitar player, too. It was something new, something different, and Eddie was really into it. Sammy was the key. He was the guy who took us to a new, higher plateau with Van Halen. Sam and I hit it off like a steam locomotive. We became friends in a way I'd never been with anyone else in the band. The whole band caught the spirit. Nothing was going to get in our way. It was nothing less than a rebirth of Van Halen. There was a lot of energy flowing through that studio when we were working on the 5150 album, ideas coming left and right, all fresh and exciting. With Sammy, we had real melody. He was just a great all-around musician. Eddie could say, "Hey, Sam, I got this idea," and Sammy could pick up a guitar and go, "Yes, but what about this?" That was all new with us. We started to become a much more musical band. With Sammy and the band, Van Halen went through the roof. The band scored a string of #1 multi-platinum albums. We ruled the arena rock world and played before capacity crowds night after night for more than 10 years. We were the world champion hard rock band, and Sammy took us there. As everything started to fizzle with Sam, I stood by and watched it all happen. I had that comfort zone in Van Halen, and I wasn't about to give it up. They were my band. When Sammy was forced out of the band, and they were working on whatever the deal was for Sammy to leave, I wasn't really a part of those discussions. I just did what was politically correct. I'm sure there were a lot of things that the Van Halen brothers were keeping from me at that point. Things that they just went ahead and did. Eddie Van Halen wanted to be in total control. Al was going along with everything Ed did. Ed took the reins and was just looking for a pawn or a puppet. After Sammy left the band, we didn't really do anything again for years until Gary Cherone joined in 1998. When Sammy went out on the road with Roth, they thought it was a carnival. Eddie made it clear that he didn't want me to go out with them. I had jammed on some shows before with Sammy, and he wasn't pleased about that. But I was just a bass player. My last name's not Van Halen. I didn't feel I was doing anything wrong. I thought I was flying the Van Halen flag. Ed called me when he heard I might appear as a guest on some of the shows. I wasn't going to do the full tour, but Sammy asked me if I'd come out and play a few dates. I was totally into it. I remember Ed saying, "You're not going to be part of that circus, are you?" When the idea of a Van Halen reunion tour came up, I wasn't in any of those discussions either. I do know that Eddie didn't want me to be a part of it. I was the traitor because I went over to Sam's camp. He couldn't understand why I couldn't sit home and do nothing until he decided that we were going to do something. He wanted to put me on salary, and eventually Sammy, Alex, and even our manager gave up some of their percentage to get me something like 13%. It wasn't like I needed the money. The only reason I did that tour was because Sammy was doing it. To do that tour, I signed away pretty much any future rights I might have had to anything Van Halen. If Sammy wasn't there, I wouldn't have even considered it because by then I felt like an outsider to the brothers. Somehow I played the shows. Some nights Eddie would hug me and go, "Mike's back. You're playing so good, man." Other nights on stage he'd look at me like he was looking right through me, like I wasn't even there. I spent a lot of time keeping my eyes on Alex during those shows, just trying to keep it together. Eddie would say to me, "Look at me all the time." During rehearsals, Ed would question me about changes in some of the songs. I'd have to change what I played, knowing that was the way it went. The first few rehearsals, Eddie didn't even show up. Alex and I were jamming all the keyboard songs because we had that on tape. Sam would come in and sing. Everything was sounding good. Then Ed would come in and change it all around. I saw Eddie do